So guys, Star Wars Outlaws has officially revealed in the early access 3 days before the full launch to Ultimate and Gold Edition players. Now I actually ended up getting the Ultimate Edition instead of the Gold Edition, and so far I have only played about an hour or so, but I wanted to give you guys my very first impressions of the game from this time so far. So I'm going to talk about the visuals and the gameplay most of all. I won't go into any story spoilers at all, so don't worry about that. If you're unsure about the game but don't want spoilers, then this is definitely the video for you. And I'll probably do some more in-depth reviews kind of stuff next week or later this week. Now I do also have a few more videos planned for Star Wars Outlaws, so if you do want to see more content on the game, be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any of that, and of course news regarding the DLC. But without wasting any more time, I'm just going to jump straight into it. Now the visuals were a big talking point before the game's launch. A lot of people saying that it looked terrible, even though a lot of it for the most part didn't. There was an early access preview gameplay which did look a little bit like not the best, but honestly the game at launch here now is just absolutely fine. There are times where some of the visuals can get like a little bit not the best. Some of the facial animations don't look particularly amazing either, but for me personally, I'm not hugely bothered by that, to be honest, because for 95% of the time, the visuals are fantastic. And even then, it's probably more 99%. It's just there's the odd little bit here and there, but the visuals are absolutely fine. It looks great. It's nothing absolutely groundbreaking by any means. It is just, you know, what I would come to expect from 2024 video games these days. So if visuals are something you're worried about, honestly, I really wouldn't worry. All of the visual effects and stuff look absolutely fine. The environments look great, and the character models are absolutely fine. It's just the odd little bit of clipping of like capes or like baggy clothing every now and then. Sometimes I feel like when you're moving quite quickly, it looks a bit blurry, but that might just be a setting you can turn off with like motion blur or something. But for me personally, it's not immersion breaking or anything like that, so that is absolutely fine. Now with regards to the gameplay, I haven't really got anywhere in terms of using my speeder bike or really using the Trailblazer at all yet, so I can't really talk about that side of things, but I can talk about the overall gunplay and movement and stuff, and so far I am really enjoying it. Like the visuals, it's absolutely nothing groundbreaking. Like, there's nothing about the gunplay or movement that I'm like, holy crap, I've never seen that before, or anything like that. But I don't really think that's the point of this game. The big thing that it seems to be going for is that whole, you know, just Star Wars open world epic where there's, you know, plenty to do and, you know, crime syndicates to have a reputation with and so on. So the gameplay itself is just good though. Like, it's not bad or anything. It is just really solid, and it is quite satisfying as well, the gunplay. So if you're looking to see this game have groundbreaking gameplay and stuff like that, don't, because it doesn't. It is just, you know, pretty standard stuff, like a bit like Jedi Survivor where, you know, you can climb on things, swing on things and that. Like, in terms of traversal, like, it's actually fairly similar. It's just obviously you don't have the Force and you can't run on walls, but you can climb, you can swing on things, you can climb ladders and whatnot. So the traversal in this game is pretty solid, and going back to the gunplay, it is pretty good. Sometimes if enemies don't have helmets, you can actually one-hit them in the head, which is super fun to do. If they have a helmet on, or sometimes they just don't, it is like a 3-shot to standard people. But I am really enjoying the blaster gameplay, and it is nice when enemies drop other weapons and you can test them out as well, because those other weapons are pretty fun to use, albeit for a short duration of time. But again, like the visuals, it's good. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it is super satisfying for the most part. So I feel like this is a game where I'm mostly going to be invested in it for the story, and just the fact that it's a Star Wars game, that's always what I was there for anyway. I'm not some super huge game critic looking for the next big, you know, game of the year with insane gameplay that's better than anything else I've ever played, or outstanding visuals that I've never seen anything like it before. You know, that's not what this game was made for. That's not what I'm going into this game in mind with. I am just there for the story, and so far it definitely has got me intrigued. Obviously I'm not that far into it, but I am definitely keen to learn more about it and all the characters. Going back to the visual side of things, one thing I have just remembered is that some of the takedown animations aren't particularly clean either. That's something that I imagine they might just patch in updates, but even if they don't, like, it's not that big of a deal to me. For the most part it's fairly clean, but I think it can depend on the angle you're at times. Like, if you're on the bottom of a step and they're like on the middle of the stairs or something, then it can be a bit janky, but it's honestly not a big deal. And some of the cutscenes as well, like in terms of the visuals, look insane. Some of the cutscenes have been like super high quality rendered, whereas other ones, you know, in real-time gameplay stuff, they're obviously not super high quality renders, but they still look good. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. And I think the final thing I really want to talk about is the music. That's something that's been sort of tooted about by Ubisoft quite a lot. Now, the guy who does the music for Star Wars Outlaws has done other Star Wars games, but actually more recently he's actually done the music for Helldivers 2, which again was a game that released earlier this year, and everyone was hyping up the music. The music in it is so good, and honestly the Outlaws music is so good as well. If you just, honestly, what I would recommend you doing is before you start the game itself, just sit in that menu screen for about 5 minutes and just listen to it, because it's kind of like, it's very Star Warsy, but also a bit like Book of Boba Fett, cyberpunky kind of. I don't really know how to describe it, honestly, because I'm not hugely into music, but it's just like, it's so good. Honestly, it really is. And then the music just in game as well, with the whole, you know, getting in and out of gameplay and stuff like that, is quite dynamic and fun. So yeah. So to wrap up this sort of first impressions, what I will say is visuals, I'd say for the most part are a solid like 8 out of 10. You know, they're good, they're nothing groundbreaking, but those sort of 2 points for me are just the fact that some animations don't line up. Sometimes it can look a bit odd, but it's nothing bad, so it's honestly not a huge concern. The overall gameplay so far as well, I'd also say is like an 8. Like, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's, you know, it is really solid. It is satisfying. There's quite a lot going on with it, like using Nyx as well. I've completely forgotten to talk about that, but using Nyx is really fun, like the stealth elements and things. So yeah, mixing stealth and Nyx and just going loud with the blaster and stuff like that, it's all a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying the gameplay so far. So with my first impressions, I would say the game is good. It's, you know, like I've already said a few times, it's not going to be anything groundbreaking, but I think as a Star Wars story and as a Star Wars game in general, I think it's going to be very good. Obviously, I've only played for about an hour or so, so I don't really know that much about Kay either, which a lot of people were like, oh, I really want to, you know, play as my own character, or ew, women. Like, it's a bit, you know, it got very strange pre-launch, but so far I'm definitely interested to learn more about Kay. She seems really like sort of fun and like a bit bouncy and stuff, so it's quite cool. It's definitely a nice change of pace from something maybe a little bit more serious like Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order. Kay and Cal do kind of have some similarities in a way, I suppose, but they are also very different and unique, and the game's set in a completely different time period. So far, I'm really happy. I'm really excited to learn more about this game and dive into it even further as the week goes on. And I'm going to have plenty of videos out for you guys, so make sure you do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments if this video has helped you though. Are you getting Star Wars Outlaws or not? Thank you all very much for watching, and may the Force be with you always.